Hello class, I wanted to share with you a student example of a summary and response essay to help you as you are working on yours. So first of all, don't forget to set up your MLA format correctly. A title, if you're using of the reading that you're going to summarize and respond to, just add something to it like summary and response, something creative on your own. So you're basically taking skills we've worked on this semester and putting them together into one essay. So you're going to pick a new reading from our new theme, and you're going to summarize it just like you summarized a reading for your first paper this semester. And then you're going to integrate some quote analysis paragraphs. So those will be like the ones that you did for your midterm. And then finally, you're going to add an introduction and a conclusion to the paper to make it a complete paper with a thesis statement. So that'll be just like what you worked on with your second paper, your analysis paper. So it's pieces of each one now kind of all coming together to work in a complete unit. So this paper is all about the Lonely Good Complex, and with a introductory paragraph, and what you want to do in that introductory paragraph is give just some brief bio information about the author. So introduce who the author is and say just a few brief important things about your author, and then say something about the topic of the reading that you've chosen. So in this case, this person would be talking about reading because the new books is about Rodriguez's relationship with reading. So that's what they do, talking a little bit about that topic of reading, and then they introduce Rodriguez, and they say a few things about him, just some brief bio information, and then you want a paragraph with a thesis statement. So your thesis would have the author's name, it'll be just their last name, since you've already used their first and last name when you gave the bio information. It's going to have the title of the reading, because that's what your paper is about. And then it's going to include the point you're making about this reading. So what is the main idea of this reading? And then you'll use that to develop in your analysis paragraphs. So then you're going to move in from your thesis statement to your reading, to summarizing the reading. So you've already given the main idea of the reading in your thesis statement. So you want to just move on to say how the author starts the reading and then move from beginning to end and recount in your own words. Remember, summaries don't have quotes. You want to make sure not to state your opinion or any bias. You're just retelling what the reading was about. So you can use a phrase like this: Rodriguez starts his story by, and then, like I said, you'll just move through particular passage and tell what's going on throughout the entire passage. When you get to the end of your summary, you want to make sure that you do have a summary statement at the end of that. So it needs to be something that kind of lets the reader, your reader, know that you're concluding your summary, and then you're going to be moving on to something else. So again, if you want to use a phrase like this: Rodriguez concludes this valuable story by, and just look at the last few paragraphs of your reading, and just say in a sentence or two what your author has done in those last couple of paragraphs, paragraph or two. Then you're ready to move on to the quote analysis, which again is like the midterm that you did where you analyzed a couple of quotes, 3 quotes. So do it the same way. Have your quote in the topic sentence, set it up correctly with the quotation marks, that you're saying why it's valuable or meaningful or significant to the main idea, and then include the in-text citation at the end of that. So I definitely recommend going back to look at the comments I left you on your midterm to make sure that anything that you missed there that you're doing correctly and improving it here. Same thing with the summary. Go back to your first summary, take a look at some of the things that I noted that you could work on to make sure that you continue to work on those, as well as taking another look at your analysis essay and those comments in that rubric, just to make sure you're catching everything and working on everything to improve your writing. All right, so after you have this topic sentence that says why the quote you've chosen is important, you're going to break it down like you did in the midterm. So you're going to put it in your own words and you're going to analyze it. If you want to use the terminology from the assignment sheet, again, you can. So you might say something like what Rodriguez is saying in the quote is, so that's restating it in your own words. And then when you get ready to break down, you might say something like, in other words, and then continue from there. Each quote response paragraph needs to have a summary sentence that wraps up the paragraph, so don't forget that. You don't want to just stop talking about the quote and move on. You've got to tie it all together for your reader so they have that sense of conclusion in the paragraph before you move to the next quote. For this paper, you quotes. You may analyze more if you like, so 3. You just want to make sure that you pick quotes that are important and integral to the theme, the main idea of your reading. Don't just pick anything. It's got to be something that's important, that really has some meaning to it, so that you have a chance to talk about it and really dig into it. So we're just repeating the same process. We're starting with a quote. You might say something like, "There's a significant quote because," tell why it's significant, include that in-text citation, and again, put it in your own words, and then move on to analyze the quote. And then, of course, have the summary sentence up. And that means then you are at paragraph, so you're going to write your conclusion paragraph. It should be fairly short, the shortest paragraph in your paper. We're not introducing any new information. We're just putting all the pieces together that we've talked about in our other paragraphs. So you're wanting to make sure you reiterate what the paper's been about. So the title of your reading will be there. Your author's last name will be there. And again, you'll just recount what that main theme was and show how everything fits together. Finally, you'll have a works cited page, probably just one citation because you're doing all the analysis in this paper. So just make sure it says works cited, that it looks like this. They use the hanging indent and include all of the pertinent information. So hopefully this will help you as you get started with your own papers. Good luck, and I look forward to reading them.